So when the Cleveland Cavaliers signed veteran free agent Georges Niang to a 3-year, $25 million deal, I was starting to feel pretty damn good about the Cavs' chances of spacing the floor off the bench and therefore replacing some of what former Cavalier and future Hall of Famer Kevin Love brought to the table as a perimeter shooter. Niang was coming off of 5 straight seasons in which he shot 40% or better from 3-point distance, and it didn't hurt that he had experience working alongside Donovan Mitchell in his days as a member of the Utah Jazz, where Niang started his breakout as a shooter. Things seem to be going as planned, as the man that has affectionately been named the Minivan completed over 47.4% of his shots from distance in his 4 preseason appearances for Cleveland, showcasing his ability to convert on looks from the corners and as a reliable catch and shoot option for the drivers. It was a small sample size, but it was at the very least consistent with his per game volume over the last few seasons, so there's real reason to believe that Niang would immediately carry over this smooth, impactful perimeter shooting over into the regular season. After all, he hadn't finished below 40% in half a decade. Well, that ain't exactly happened, folks. He has appeared in all 17 games thus far for Cleveland this year. In the Caps' first 9, Niang completed an icy 24.4% of his shot attempts from 3-point distance as he tried to get himself going. Some of his attempts were coming while he was on the move off of a fast break opportunity, but others appeared to be shots that he was previously most comfortable taking. Catch and shoot triples at or near above the break, and from the corners, a lot of which were wide open for the most part. These are good, clean looks where Niang had a ton of space between himself and defenders to pull the trigger. Maybe it was part conditioning and he just needed to get himself into game shape, because I was seeing some very flat attempts that were just grazing the rim. Overall, his shot just appeared to be off, and I didn't notice much difference between the ones that he was taking last season compared to what he was taking to begin this one. From October 25th to November 11th, Niang was piss poor as a catch and shoot specialist, an area where he typically excels. He was completing just 1.1 of his 4.1 catch and shoot attempts. That translates to roughly 27%. It was hard to watch, and it's not as if the defense was truly making life hard on him. During that same stretch, 38 of his 41 total triples attempted were considered open or wide open. For those of you who may not know, the NBA considers you open if the defender is between 4 to 6 feet away from you, and it considers a player wide open if his defender is 6+ feet away. It may have also just been a slump, something all shooters go through at one time or another, because he has immediately followed that horrendous start with a stretch of shooting that makes him look like a flat-out flamethrower. In his last 8 appearances, the 8-year vet has shot a blistering 48.6% from beyond the arc. He is knocking down the 3 ball at such a high rate that he's effectively rendered that icy start an afterthought, and he is taking basically the same types of shots. He is completing 1.8 of his 3.8 catch and shoot attempts from distance, which translates to 46.7%. Basically, he's become a knockdown shooter once more. One that ball handlers such as Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, and even Craig Porter Jr. feel confident dishing out to, whether he's above the break or on the corners. Defenses are still not totally respecting his ability to knock down shots, which astounds me because only 3 of his 35 attempts during this stretch above have been considered tightly defended, while his remaining 32 carry the open or wide open designation. And boy has he made him pay for it. The Minivan has drilled 53.1% of them. With this being the case, I'm willing to bet that the opposition will adjust sooner rather than later and throw some defensive attention his way, which in turn will open the floor up for more drives to the rim for those ball handlers. The only thing that I really dislike from him is when he drives to the rim. Y'all know, y'all have heard me say this a million times. It just looks so damn slow. For context, Niang ranks 7th on the team in total drives with 58, while Max Strus ranks 5th with 78, yet Niang has attempted 6 more shots when doing so. Now he's hitting these at a higher clip than Strus, but he rarely looks to move the ball when driving, unlike Strus, who has shown an ability to drive and kick. Niang's assist percentage while driving is a paltry 1.7%. It's a slow-footed layup or bust for him. It's not happening so often though that it's taken away from his overall impact. Elsewhere, Niang has been pretty damn solid as a rebounder, pulling down a career best 4 rebounds per game so far on this still very young season, thanks in part to some good positioning and hustle. This is a guy that, despite being listed at 6'7", has never truly been known to bang inside for loose boards, but very much like fellow new addition Max Strus has, he has continued to be better than expected on the glass. Defensively, Niang can be somewhat of a liability out there, but he has had his moments. He has been solid against slower-footed bigs such as Julius Randle, who he has held to a collective 3 of 13. And take it for what it's worth, because it's a small sample size, but he has held forwards in general to 39.2% and guards to 42% when matched up as their primary defender. The aptly named Minivan has been a little better than expected as an on-ball defender, but where he can look like a big-time liability and be attacked is as an off-ball defender. He can be quite slow to rotate and close out at times, both of which have led to some very frustrating wide open triples for the opposition. But all in all, the spacing that Georges Niang provides on offense is making up for it. He is currently living up to his reputation as a sharpshooter, and that is exactly what the Cavs want to happen, and ultimately why they brought him in. Here's to hoping that continues. Go Cavs.